Hello and welcome to Governor DAO's DAO Speed Dating episode number 13. My name is Blake for Liberty, and I'm here with Heath Ledger. We're excited to have everyone here with us today. Give us a follow here on Twitter at Governor_DAO and at GDAO Ambassadors. And with that, I'll pass it over to Heath Ledger to tell you a little bit about Governor DAO.
Awesome. Thanks, Blake. Thanks to all our guests and audience for being here today. We got a good one in store. So a little bit about Governor DAO. Governor DAO's ethos is to offer governance as a service at the highest standard to other projects across the space and to help them achieve the best governance strategies. Governor DAO also provides consultations, audits, revenue model implementations, and more. Governor has become the leader for solving Sybil resistance with a non-KYC solution called Proof of Existence. This enables things like one voice, one vote governance, fair launch NFT drops, human gating for Discord, Telegram, play-to-earn gaming, metaverses, and more. I'd like to encourage our listeners to check us out further at govenordao.org and check out Proof of Existence at proofofexistence.xyz. You can find that in the billboard and thread pinned at the top.
Yeah, one last announcement before we get going is we've got a Gitcoin grant round up. So if everyone could check that out as well. If you can donate just $1, that helps a lot with the way their funding system works. Actually, even just looking at the page helps us out a lot. This week we have CommunityDAO and Otterspace with us. Introducing our first guest, CommunityDAO. DAO Harris is a founder and curator of CommunityDAO, or ComDAO. ComDAO is the first and only DAO forming on the Ravencoin blockchain. The organization seeks to connect Web3 to the real world through daily community building activities towards generating profitable new protocols made possible by the new paradigm of Web3 and blockchain technology. ComDAO has become known for its efforts in 3 primary areas: real estate tokenization in the metaverse, the creation of a crowd working mechanism, best described as a protocol generator, and for spreading blockchain connectivity into the developing countries of Africa.
CommunityDAO was hatched late December 21, January 22, sort of in a atmosphere of trending Web3 DAO startups. And there was a lot of people from all over the world that were sort of hopping in. We sort of spent about a month just basically tossing around ideas of what this community would be, and this and that. Initially, our sort of aim was to develop some real estate tokenization protocols towards fractionalizing real estate for vacation rentals. And so we began to develop a lot of material, charts, studies, gathering people that were visible in that space, putting together papers and newsletters and whatnot. However, what we began to see was something beyond just that one project towards what I would describe as the current sort of gist of CommunityDAO, which is, first of all, building a community, a worldwide community on some of the new principles of Web3, blockchain, cryptocurrency. And second of all, actually developing content creation from a very active group of international contributors. And we have gained a fair amount of traction and have developed a real outreach effort in Western Africa. So that's exciting. The African continent has 1.2 billion people, and unleashing and unlocking those labor pools and developing protocols in which we can collaborate with those developing countries is a very exciting potential. The next thing that I'd like to just mention is that we tokenized on the Ravencoin blockchain. So this was a very unique type of project. We currently, as far as I know, are the only DAO developing on Ravencoin, and it limits us in some regards because, of course, most DAOs are built on Ethereum, various blockchains within the Ethereum sort of ecosystem, and we went towards Ravencoin. And the main reason for that was because of its decentralized protocol and because we had developed friendships with a number of people in real estate tokenization, businesses that were beginning to turn to Ravencoin as a good alternative that was simpler than Ethereum and built off of Bitcoin. So that's a whole nother story there. The gist of our thrust, though, ended up becoming towards developing not so much real world real estate properties, but in the direction of the metaverse. So one of our big projects is financing and developing a fractionalized real estate selling platform within a virtual world known as Ultiverse, which is built on Unreal Engine 5. So in the next few months, we are financing, we'll be having an NFT drive to sell tokens that would be shares and access points for this property, and then developing a number of protocols within, primarily NFT marketplaces, art galleries, and things like that. Apart from that, we have also sort of developed a philosophic angle. We are actually a great place to onboard into the world of DAOs. Our featured academic that is sort of leading in that direction is Alina Okun, and she is a well-known leading DAO researcher that has a lot of connections throughout the industry. And Alina edits a weekly publication for us called ComLink, and we've been doing it for 30 weeks. And it's a great run through of a lot of the philosophic issues, a lot of the governance issues, a lot of the theoretical things and industry things that are happening from week to week in Web3. And so those are some of our areas of focus. Beyond that, we look to collaborate with a variety of projects that are sprouting in the space, no matter what the blockchain. And one of the ways that we do that is through something that we have begun to describe as a crowd working mechanism or protocol generator. So we have a team, large, getting larger each day, based primarily in Nigeria, and we structure contests each week for this team to develop designs and writings, and then we outsource those various features to groups that need content creation.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your team and some of the key? I know you told us about Alina Okun. Any other interesting aspects of your team or personalities involved with you guys?
Absolutely. So, one of our early sort of founders, curators, you can call it either, is a guy named Jeff Lippert, who is currently the chief growth officer and the head of marketing of Altiverse.com. And I encourage you guys to check that out. It's a really great rising metaverse ecosystem that's going to be on the Binance Smart Chain. And Jeff and I confer weekly about how to utilize and develop this virtual skyscraper called the Com Tower that we are building in the world of Sky City. Fascinating guy with an incredible background and successful golf, video games, things like that. I'd also mention our chief African marketing captain is a guy named Dinoski. And this guy's been with me since day one in January. And I didn't even originally start this DAO. I was actually asked to join by a former project lead named Devin Outfleet, who has moved on and is no longer with the project. But Dinoski has been instrumental in connecting us with new people in Nigeria and in Ghana. And these connections are really valuable. We are developing with Alina a book that will be published as an NFT initially, but eventually a hardback book on crypto trading in Nigeria, based on probably about 25 different content creators that we have come to know through our various activities.
That's actually really exciting that you're finding some good traction and also have a great mechanism for content creation. to keep things going. Africa seems really interesting and central to what you guys are doing. Can you tell us a little more about what led you to Africa and growing your DAO there?
Well, it's actually a kind of an interesting story because, I just came out to it from the outside kind of spontaneously. And I had read some book on, I think it's called The Virtual Machine. It's about Ethereum, and had kind of gotten into studying DAOs and things like that. But I just hopped into this thing, and we're like, well, best way to figure out how DAOs work is to help build one. And what we saw real early on was that the biggest response we were getting when we were sending out bids to join our team, sort of develop some protocols and generate content, was coming out of Africa. I mean, I think in the first week, when we kind of sent out some bids to, for ambassadors and things like that, we got like 100 applications, at least 100 applications from various people in Nigeria. I mean, it was like 90% of the response came out of Nigeria. So I immediately perked up just because I was like, well, that's interesting. And they seemed very active, hungry, savvy with tech, and good people. So we started having fun and developing, various themes that we could work on from week to week. And, it's a great pleasure to interact with those developing countries, because cryptocurrency, access to that, and blockchain gives them a type of stability that, they haven't had all their lives. And so it's a great opportunity to build something that has meaning in that part of the world, for sure.
Absolutely. That's one of the most exciting things about Web3 for me. Opportunity to anybody. I think that's one of the most exciting aspects of it. Can you tell me a little bit more about where you see your organization going from here? Upcoming projects, partnerships, where you see you guys going next?
Sure. So from week to week, we build momentum on different themes, right? So like last week, it was like war and peace. And this week, it's like the space frontier. And a few weeks back, it was, summer fun or something like that. And that's what it gets us into a sort of a rolling, it gets us sort of rolling along. And so everyone's writing, and we accept articles. We have contests for freelance articles and essays, and also designs, right? So what that does is that keeps us constantly creating content. And then we have started to, latch on to other projects that need people to generate content. So one good example is, you guys might have heard of Rogi, Igor Iliansky. He sort of rounded up the Denver DAO conference back in East Denver in, I think, February. He's got a great startup right now called Listen Up, and it's an audio app, so it's geospatial audio. And he needs assistance in writing these 100 to 200 word features that they plug into a database that will sort of come up as you walk through a town. And so we are collaborating with him because we have the crowd working team that's able to take on a job like that. And that creates bounties. So that's a form of, outsourcing labor and developing a way for, our team to get remunerated for work they put in. The other big thing that we are looking at that we're going to be doing this fall is, literally colonizing a metaverse property. And that's a very big project that we have a pending deal with this Altiverse group. So that's going to unlock a lot of great opportunities. We're going to be hosting games. We're going to be having immersive virtual world art galleries and various places for people to meet and collaborate and that kind of thing. So financing that, developing a line of NFTs that will grant access into those properties will be a big thing for us to sort of solve in the next few months. Ultimately, we view CommunityDAO philosophically as sort of a new the symbol of a new age, right? Community, according to Alina, is the foundation of the fourth industrial revolution, as she calls it. And so we foresee our reach and this kind of process, moving beyond the U.S. or Africa into, each continent on the world. So our scope is pretty large, but, we work day to day with what we have before us. And the fact is that we have a growing organism. It's a good plant of a community, and it's growing. So we're excited to do that, and we have some very talented, smart, and fun people on the team that are willing to hang in there and volunteer when necessary, but also, take advantage of good opportunities when they come along. Because, for us, for everyone, making a living and developing marketable protocols is, got to do that in order to survive. So we're having fun, but we're also working hard and trying to build a world community. Any way that I connect with someone, we can, put you into a relationship with the organization that is at your level and that's comfortable. And we have a lot of people at different stages. And one other thing I wanted to say was, if you get involved with Ravencoin, you're also likely to see us kind of pop up because we're very active in the NFT art space within Ravencoin and supporting artists and things like that. Since we have so many designers we're trying to support in Africa. So if you like art NFTs, we encourage anyone to explore and find out more about some of the opportunities you have within Ravencoin, which, by the way, is actually worthwhile to bring it up in the context of, sort of being crossing, shaking hands across that divide of Ethereum and Ravencoin. Very interesting time right now. Ravencoin has doubled in the past 11 days, which makes it hard for us as we're doing award payouts based on Ravencoin. So, but and of course the merge is occurring, in hours. So it's a very exciting time, and we have our allegiance to Ravencoin, but we owe a lot to Ethereum, and we have many contacts and friends within that world. So another big banner to answer your question to look for is the Ravencoin symbol, because we'll be there, and it's a good camp. It's a growing community right now, and all things are looking really solid for Ravencoin. So
awesome, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. You have a fitting name to be working for a DAO, so that's cool too. We will have open discussion for a few minutes at the end of the space as well, so we'll invite you back up to stage and we can bring up a topic that we can all discuss together. But thanks for coming on.
I'll jump right into our next guest, Otterspace. Otterspace is building a token standard, EIP4973, a protocol and application to harness soul-bound tokens or badges within DAOs. Badges enable DAOs to perform non-financialized governance, manage community-specific reputation and credentials, and distribute influence and automate permissions. Welcome, Otterspace. I'm really excited to hear about what you guys have going on.
Yeah, my name is George. I am a Solidity developer. I'm writing smart contracts at Otterspace. So I'm, I'm not one of the founders, so it's not going to be as much like a pitch, but I can tell you from my perspective what's going on and what we're working on. Yeah, Otterspace was founded earlier this year, and I was contracted to help them build a Discord bot. They had this idea that they were going to build onboarding tools for DAOs. A lot of us see the problems around how DAOs form and how DAOs are getting off the ground, forming inside of Discord, and they have different needs. The idea was that we would build this system where we would give you kind of different quests, like give new users of the DAO different quests to get started. Some example would be like, fill out an intake form, buy some of the tokens, join Discord. And there was one of the features of this early product was like issuing a badge, like, level 1 onboarded or level 2 onboarded. And a couple of the early DAOs really latched onto this idea of badges. And our founders kind of decided to pivot our product from this whole onboarding suite of tools for DAOs to just focusing on badges. And the timing was pretty good along the way. Vitalik and a couple other prominent people in the crypto community came out with a paper called the Decentralized Society, which is like, I don't know, 40-page PDF. But it basically outlines the need for what they call soul-bound tokens or non-transferable tokens or account-bound tokens. I personally don't like the name soul-bound, but that's the one that seems to be catching on right now. But the idea is, if you want to represent something like a university degree or some kind of credential or something on chain, it certainly shouldn't be transferable like an NFT. So the like Vitalik's kind of vision of the future with NFTs is that, or with these credentials, is that you go through your life, you collect your credentials like you do now, but they should be represented on chain. And yeah, given that there are some competing standards, and we're authoring a standard called ERC 4973, which is a non-transferable token. And we're building, the way you can think about Otterspace is we're co-authoring a protocol, and we're kind of creating developer tools around that protocol, and like the first app on top of that protocol. So the app we're building on top of ERC 4973 is Otterspace. We're in beta right now. You can check out our Twitter for info about how to join that. But yeah, the idea, the way our product works now, we just launched on Optimism, and the way it works is you can create a badge, like as a DAO, you register your DAO on Otterspace, and then you can create a badge, and you can add people to the allow list. So unlike NFTs, you can't just drop these onto people and spam people with them. It's like, as a DAO operator, I can create a badge called like core contributor badge or social media guild badge, and I can add addresses to that badge and add them to an allow list where they can go and claim the badge. So the idea is that Otterspace allows you to have non-financial rewards and recognition for your DAO. And so on top of this idea of creating badges, which, you know, like in the Web 2 world, if you post on Stack Overflow, you can get a badge. It's like, 15 reputation. You just get a badge and it kind of means nothing. What we're trying to do with badges in Web 3, actually not trying to do, what we're doing, what we've built with badges in Web 3 is we're integrating with Snapshot and Gnosis Safe and Guild, where I think the coolest one is Snapshot. So the idea, DAOs are using Snapshot to, govern their DAOs and make decisions. But one of the huge problems is like a lot of, I think most DAOs operates like, depending on how many tokens of that cryptocurrency you own, that's how many votes you have. And this is why, like, I think it's a huge, not just I think, but I think a lot of leaders in the crypto world are talking about how it's problematic, how financialized the whole ecosystem is around DAO governance. So the idea is to distribute influence away from like one token, one vote, to like a more equitable way to govern DAOs. So what we're doing is we allow DAOs to issue these badges, and then within Snapshot, they can assign weight to each badge. So like a core contributor might have like 10 times the weight of someone in the social media guild. It's fully configurable however you want. Yeah, that's our Snapshot integration. And yeah, we're partnering with some pretty big DAOs like Bankless DAO and Radical, working on Optimism. And yeah, that's a high level. I don't have a lot more to go from here. I'd turn it into a conversation. That's cool with you guys.
I always enjoy having projects on that share something similar with us. the way you guys are using your badges to help with DAO governance is certainly something that we share a common goal with our proof of existence tech. So really appreciate that you guys are doing something cool in this space. Can you tell us more about some of the partners you have? I know you mentioned you have a lot of cool partners, and I remember seeing a big list on your website. Any more interesting things to tell us about there?
One really cool one is Token Engineering Commons. So they're the high level. What I know what they do, it's like a blockchain education company, and they give out Web 2 type of badges around like achievements within learning. And so they have a programmatic way to give out these badges, which is just, an image. And so we've built an integration for them where basically we're opening up our API to make it so if you're somebody who is already giving out badges or some kind of credential in a Web 2 way, you can plug into Otterspace and turn those into these non-transferable tokens. So that's kind of a cool one. That's Token Engineering Academy. Some other ones: MetaStreet, Radical, Llama DAO, Saddle Finance, Syndicate, CowSwap, Decentraland. These are some early partners messing around with our tech. I don't know if it's not necessarily a formal partnership with any of these guys, but they're working closely with us to help us prove out our MVP and get off the ground.
And you guys are using Optimism, right, for your chain?
Yeah, we're deployed on Optimism, and yeah, that's kind of what we're focusing on right now.
I had the pleasure of getting a live demo yesterday, and it's really cool. Like the artwork, the names of the badges, and the concept of building out like a reputation sort of scoring system for contributors and things of that nature. And one of the features that I thought was really cool was the time limits that you can put on the badges. So they do expire. You could have expiring badges. Could you talk more about that?
Yeah, that's something actually I didn't mention in my overview, but yeah, the idea is from what I understand, there's a lot of DAOs have this concept of like a guest pass or some kind of temporary access control that they want to give out to new members. I know Bankless does this in their Discord. Yeah, the idea is that DAO can say, hey, like they don't want to give anyone the ability to just go do whatever they want in the DAO, so you have to kind of like jump through a couple hoops, and then they'll give you a guest pass. Basically, it's the underlying tech of it is we issue you an NFT or non-transferable token, so an NFT like badge that has some metadata on it that has an expiration date, basically. So there could be an example like I don't know. Let's say it's something like Instagram, or maybe a better example would be Wix or some other kind of like website builder. Let's say I have a page. I have a page where I'm sharing some content, and then I could give out these NFTs that they act as like a key to my website, like a membership NFT to view my website. I could airdrop my community or anyone I want, like a bunch of these NFTs that could unlock like free access to my content. And then that only works for 7 days, and then it expires. So you can kind of think of it like a key that unlocks something. Or if you're kind of more technical in the Web 2 world, the idea of OAuth, it's like kind of like this authorization cookie or authorization token. For me, actually, that's probably one of the more exciting things about what we're working on. It's like using NFTs as authorization.
The other thing I liked about it was that like when the badges expire, they still show up like for that, like they're still tied to that person as like sort of like a digital resume. So it doesn't just disappear, like it doesn't go away. Like people can see the past badges that you've had see like what DAOs you've engaged with and where you've contributed and things like that. So that's really cool.
I was just going to say that's an interesting one for me because there's this, like in the use case I outlined where it's like you could have like a summer 2022 social media contributor badge, which, you know, is only valid for the summer of 2022. Of course, like someone would want to keep that in their wallet afterwards, and you would want to like maybe just gray it out or like, you know, display it, but it's not active. But there's an interesting question around revocability, which we haven't decided on quite yet, but it's this idea that like if a DAO is issuing badges, should they be able to have like full on like super admin control and burn badges, or should we just like integrate this idea of deactivating? So yeah, it's something we're doing user research and grappling with and kind of like talking to participants in the ecosystem and trying to make the best product decision. But this idea of like, should you be able to like centralize the power of burning or not, or just like leave it as an expiration is something we're kind of thinking about.
The other function was the consensual like minting of the badges as well, so people can't just like airdrop badges into people's wallets kind of thing. That was kind of cool too.
Yeah, right now, basically the V1 of our product, it works like as the DAO operator or admin, whatever you want to call it. I can one by one add addresses or ENS names to an allow list. And like each time I put one in the list, I have to like sign a transaction, not pay for a transaction through MetaMask, but just sign it. And then when that other, so like if I give you Blake if I add Blake to an allow list, it'll save it in our database with a signature. And then when Blake visits our website, it'll say like, oh, Blake's been whitelisted, and then he'll make an on-chain transaction to actually claim that badge. So one of our like big features coming up is we're making it so we can do bulk issuance. And again, it's kind of a technical thing, but we're using Merkle trees to be able to add like 50 or however many 500 people at once all to an allow list and bundle that into like one signature, which is kind of interesting. And so that's like the DAO admin giving giving out badges or giving out vouchers to claim badges. But we're also in the pretty near future creating the reverse of that, which is almost like what's the word for it? It's like when you would request, like I could go to your like Blake's website and say like, hey Blake, I want your core contributor badge or something. So he would have to request to me. So it's sort of like you can either give them out or you can like make a landing page where people can request to mint.
We dole out our proof of existence token as well in batches using the Merkle and just to save on transaction fees and whatnot. And but people can also go to the portal and request their token right away as well. So there's two options for that, which is kind of cool. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really like the permissions aspect of what you guys use your badges for that you were talking about, kind of the whether they're timed or not. Either way, I really like how many possibilities that kind of opens for innovation and different things people can use them for with their communities. We do something. Well, we do just the kind of the basic human gating by folks. It checks for our proof of existence token to human gate a chat or an ecosystem or whatever it may be. But I really like the additional aspect that you have with it being timed. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's always fun. I mean, especially being a developer, being technical, working on things that are brand new like this. It's like there is like a Web 2 architecture of how it's supposed to be done, but we can kind of decide like what is the best way.
So, as someone who's helping build this, what would you like to most see come from this, or what kind of result in not just like practical, but like what do you want to see come from this in terms of like what it will add to the space as a whole?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think if you ask different people, like within our company or even our ecosystem, they might say different things. For me, what's most exciting is third-party integrations. So like there are two ways this could go. There's like POAP, for example, their number one metric is like how many badges are minted total or whatever, how many NFTs are minted total. They just want to like, you show up to a party, you get a POAP. You show up to a Zoom meeting, you get a POAP. Like that could be a metric for us. Another one would be like how many high profile DAOs do we integrate with? Like I think right now in mid 2022, you can't really say what's more valuable, 100,000 minted badges for going to parties or integrating with like, Bankless and Optimism and Arbitrum or whatever, like whatever high profile names you have. So those are sort of two sides of the spectrum. It's like mass minting and like using that as a metric, or high profile integrations. Or actually not really high profile integrations. I would say just like use cases with big players in the space. And then for me, actually, the other kind of direction it can go was just with like almost more like a straight up developer tool. So like this idea, actually like Stack Overflow is a cool one. They don't issue, just on your Stack Overflow profile, like as you answer questions or whatever, they kind of give you points and give you badges, and no one really pays attention to it. But like you could pretty easily see how Stack Overflow could plug into our API to like, instead of giving you a meaningless point on Stack Overflow, they could give you like a real NFT or something. And yeah, the most exciting future for me is a future where like reputation online is represented by some kind of badges. And yeah, I don't really see why not. Like, I don't see why do I want like a little picture of a badge on Stack Overflow if it could be represented and owned by me? So for me, like, I hope that the kind of nerds of the internet start integrating into the Web3 technologies and giving people tech that they can actually own.
So what's the best way for folks to get involved if they want to get involved?
Sure, yeah. I'd say check out Otterspace on Twitter, request to join our beta, and you can register your DAO on Otterspace, and yeah, start using badges for like snapshot governance, or yeah, just anything you want. Just experiment with their product, and we're happy to help you onboard and happy for your feedback as well.
Question for DAO here, and that is, did you say that Raven can support smart contracts to build out your DAO?
So that's a great question, and I got hit with this early on, not long after we tokenized on Ravencoin, and looked around, and there weren't any other DAOs on Ravencoin, and then people began asking us about, well, do you have EVM smart contract capability and this and that, and so. At first we were sort of confused about that, and then what it caused us to do was really to get our heads around what is possible with Ravencoin, comparatively speaking, as far as smart contracts go. And the general consensus of the Ravencoin community about that is that in some ways the smart contracts are get ahead of themselves and create more problems. So Ravencoin is much more of a I would say a trimmer or a simpler interface. It's really about creating token supplies, that are distributed to members, holders, equity, stock, in whatever endeavor. And then those tokens have various properties that they can activate on Ravencoin, like, for as far as like messaging or communication. There are ways that you can circulate voting tokens and things like that. But it is a much simpler type of interface. So the elaborate sort of smart contracts that you're used to encountering with Ethereum are not there. But for a lot of the developers in Ravencoin, they view that as as a feature, not a bug. I don't know if that explains it adequately. And we are still at an early stage, but a lot of people in the Ravencoin community are curious about how we will fare in developing our governance structures. And one thing that I thought, as George brought up, that was really good that we've discussed frequently is this idea of how do you get around the numerical majority, right? The idea of somebody with a lot of money can come in and buy a bunch of tokens and it's one vote per token. And so that's caused us to develop a lot of ideas about dividing power. So when we, or control or whatnot. So when we tokenized, we began to distribute tokens in mutually exclusive directions. So we began distributing tokens between three basic categories: research, foundation, and marketing. And each one of those categories has a mutually exclusive set of nodes that is not controlled by the others. And it's kind of on the ancient Roman triumvirate model of governance. So I just think, this is a great time to begin to share ideas about, how do you prevent a numerical majority from dominating an organization? So I was curious, actually, as well, about some more of George's ideas about that, explaining a little bit more about how they would, at Otter, would get around that, as certainly relevant to all of our activities and DAOs.
Yeah, absolutely. And George, if you want to speak to that, go for it.
Sure. I guess the general question is around how do you get around one token, one vote, and that financial concentration? Is that the question for you, DAO?
That's part of the recurring discussion that we have about strategies about avoiding that. And so I'm just curious to pick your brain a little bit more about how you guys have faced those problems and resolved them in various ways. We've had a couple of ideas that have helped us sort of navigate that area as well.
Yeah, sure. I guess to start with, I'll mention that our product is very, very early. So we've built the technology and we're partnering with DAOs who, our co-founders are also contributors in DAOs, but our protocol isn't opinionated about how to implement the weighting of this. For example, if you have, I gave a kind of a silly example earlier, but let's say you're a DAO and you have 5 core contributors and 5 people with social media guild badges. Just from the names of the badges, you would assume that the core contributors would have more voting power, but that's actually just based on if you're integrating with Snapshot and you want to create a vote on something, it's actually up to the DAO who's implementing our protocol to make that decision. And if it were the case that it was maybe it's a TikTok DAO, then in that case the social media guild would be more powerful. I don't know, but I think Otterspace itself is not. We're not prescriptive about how you're implementing that, but we're building the tools that allow you to kind of build this in a flexible way.
Yeah, that's cool. I think we are at an early stage as well, and the best way that I like to think about it is just that you get your principles in the right place, right? I mean, you can't have the people with all the money making all the decisions all the time. And then what we've seen in our evolution and growth is just that we have a fair number of people that come in that are maybe investor types or people that would buy into this or that aspect and could swing some weight there. But then we also have on the other side, we have people who are dedicating their lives and volunteer time day after day to just, build content and structure out things, going above and beyond, not, often not receiving remuneration, but contributing. And so those two factors, we believe if we get the philosophy right, then the tech will, we'll find our way to the right tech solution. That you have to balance essentially numerical power with merit and with those who are actually passionately, creatively building the ecosystem.
Yeah, and this whole area is one of the main focuses of Governor DAO as well, with our civil resistance tech, which is the whole idea behind that is to prevent bots and multi accounts from just taking over, or whales for that matter, from just buying up the token supply and having a huge vote. So with our system, it is EVM specific for now, at least until if a ecosystem outside of EVM wants to partner with us and fund us to bring it over somewhere, I think that might be possible. But for now, it's EVM specific. But it's a the way it works is it's a privacy focused biometrics protocol. So it uses face and voice to create a hash locally on the person's device. That hash is then checked against all the other hashes that folks have used to make their proof of existence tokens. If it's unique and shows to be a unique individual, then that person can mint their own proof of existence token. And so then from there, that on its own is permissionless now, as well as from there, projects can integrate proof of existence however they would like. It's open source. All they have to do is check for whether a wallet contains a proof of existence token and allow that to be one of their checks for, whether they want 1 mint per person regarding an NFT launch, or 1 vote per wallet, or there's pretty much an endless amount of use cases that can gate communities so that only proven unique individuals can join a community. That can be really useful in things like online gaming or certain metaverse applications as well. So that's kind of how we deal with it. But in terms of strictly governance that we were talking about, it allows for uh, 1 vote per wallet, or however a project might want to use that. Uh, it's still 1 vote per wallet, but maybe different wallets have different weighting. So really, it allows similar to what. Sorry, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank. Similar to how Otterspace is using it, it allows projects to using their badges. That is, it allows projects to kind of use their own ingenuity, uh, their own desires to build out how they wish, and that's kind of our goal as well, is to just unlock innovation and unlock people's creativity so that communities can build what they want and be safe. So yeah, I'm really excited about this discussion, about what both of your projects are doing. Um, Anything you would like to add, Eve?
Yeah, I think that, there's a lot of similarities between sort of what Otterspace is doing and what Governor DAO is doing with their civil resistance tech. And it's just exciting times. And I think that, on-chain reputation is going to be huge in the next couple of years. And we've talked about it before, like, there should be options for people that want to build out a resume but still be anonymous. So like finding ways that you can do that is big. And I think that Governor DAO and Otterspace can both offer that, right? Because if you want to tie like a Twitter account to a wallet, you can do that, and you can maybe choose to dox yourself or not, and maybe there's different credit scores for that or whatever, right? But I think that it should be up to the user to decide like what information they want to give up, and what they want to not, and to have like at least 1 wallet that they can build out a resume on is going to be really big for DAOs, for contributors, for future employers. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe crypto dating services. Who knows, man? It's there's tons of innovation happening in the space, and I think one thing that's cool about Governor DAO and the civil resistance tech is that like we can provide that option to people too, and build out this reputation scoring system down the road. And yeah, it's just exciting to see different projects collaborate and all this stuff that's happening. So
yeah, I think there might be some cool opportunities for our projects that are here today to collaborate down the line as well. So that's pretty exciting as well. We are at the top of the hour, so maybe we should head to some last thoughts. If you guys want to share some last thoughts from whatever you want to share to kind of to close out your portions.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just want to spend a few minutes sort of reaching out to the other chains, the other blockchains. Apart from where we're at, we are all about community cohesion, learning how to work together. It's a philosophic principle that is the core particle of kind of what we feel is the emerging paradigm. So looking past different structures and things like that, and getting people together, interacting, giving content back and forth, and learning from one another is our ABC. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the metaverse at some point. We do, like I said, we have an interface with Ethereum and with Binance and with all these other chains in our metaverse project. And I encourage everybody to check out our website, comdao.org. We are the only DAO currently on the Ravencoin blockchain, but we have numerous contributors and networkers in Ethereum and other chains as well. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you all. It's good to meet you, and look forward to getting to know more about you and your projects in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I don't have too much to add, but yeah, thanks for having me today. Happy to connect more with you guys if you wanna, just nerd it out, chat Solidity or whatever crypto stuff. I'm always down. If anyone I guess listens to this afterwards, check out Otterspace. It's super easy to use. Just sign up for a beta, and we'll get you going. And love to see what you can do with it.
yeah, for sure. Thanks everybody for coming. I'll have some POAPs ready to hand out here shortly. Also turn the space into a YouTube video and share it with you guys so you can share that with your communities. And what do we have for next week? We'll be here same time, same place next week. And I believe we have 3 guests booked, so it should be a full house. And thanks again.